I am a freshman in college, and I am newly on my own, totally self-sufficient, don't need anyone. And I wake up on a Saturday morning, and my throat is a little bit sore. But it's not even really my throat, it's this little lump below my chin. And I think, well, that's weird. That's not strep throat. That's not like a cold. I don't have any other symptoms. Like, something's going on here. And I have the ability to figure this out. So I do what any self-sufficient 18-year-old would do. And I called my mom and said, I have a weird lump under my chin. It just happened like overnight. And I need you to tell me what it is. And she goes through, like, do you have any other symptoms? Do you have a fever? I don't own a thermometer, so I don't know how you would find that out. Do you have sore throat? Do you have a headache? Are you nauseous? And I was like, no. It's just this lump underneath my chin. And she tells me from 400 miles away that she can't diagnose me over the phone, which is when, you know, it's like really serious. Like when your mom doesn't know what it is, like what is this lump underneath my chin? And she can tell that I'm getting like slightly panicky. Like freshman year of college is where I realize I'm a slightly panicky kind of person. And so this lump in my throat is now becoming like, I don't know, like cancer, like, I don't know, anything. Just comes in overnight, right? And she goes, go to the emergency room. The health center was closed on Saturday, I guess, on my college campus. She said, go to the emergency room and just like get it figured out. You'll feel better in the end. And at this point, I start to get like really panicky, like kind of emotional because, you know, the emergency room is scary and I'm only 18. I thought I was an adult, but I'm actually not. And most prominently, I had recently read a story on the internet. It was from Oprah. Never thought you'd hear 2 Oprah stories tonight. And Oprah's like really credible, right? So this story on the internet from Oprah that I had read talked about this woman who had licked the back of an envelope to seal it, and there were cockroach eggs on like the envelope glue. And so a cockroach like embedded in her tongue and like grew up to be like a big cockroach, and then they had to like cut it out of her tongue. So now I'm convinced that this lump underneath my chin, which like, Jesus Christ, is probably like a double chin that I have just grown, is a cockroach. So obviously there's a cockroach underneath my chin, and like now I'm just crying in my dorm room. So I convinced a couple of my hallmates to go with me to the emergency room, which luckily is very close to campus. And I'm like, you know, a little teary-eyed, but like holding it together, and we get in the elevator from our 5th floor dorm to go down to the ground to exit the building, and the elevator gets stuck. So now we're stuck in this elevator, not able to get to the ER where they can surely get the cockroach out of my chin. And we can hear the people like on the other side of the door, and we're like, we're stuck, and they're like, we don't know what to do. So they call the campus police, who arrive on a bicycle to help us. And it turns out like all this time we've been on like the 1st floor of the building. Like we successfully came down all 5 floors and then just got stuck. So we're like, you know, convinced we're gonna plummet to our deaths, and they're like, no, you're here, it's fine. And they figured out how to get us out of the elevator, and the bike cop is like, oh, like how did this happen? Let me take your statement. And we're like, no, we gotta go. This girl's got a cockroach in her chin. Like, so we like exit that situation, and we get over to the emergency room, which of course is like, you sit there for like 2 hours waiting for a doctor to see you. And I say, I have a small lump underneath my chin, and I don't know what it is, but it could be anything. And he was like, oh yeah, okay, sure. Like real professional for this sad 18-year-old girl. And tells me that not only do you have lymph nodes here, you also have one here. And my body was fighting the smallest of infections, and I had one swollen lymph node, and I needed to go home and like drink some tea. So So if you ever feel like you might be having your first panic attack and your mom can't diagnose what's wrong with you, it's probably not a cough